would just want to draw on the whole idea that I took out from a barrister magazine from California. Of course, the lawyers are there, and they state that defamation is any statement, whether written or oral, that injures the good name or reputation of another person. For a statement to be defamatory, it must not be true. And then that brings us to the question, what is truth? Because in today's world, nothing is true and nothing is false. And that is the problem we are facing with today. Before you would know how to correct a child and tell a child, don't do that, beat the child, till they say, well, you know, that is abuse. And we really don't know where you stand, because even with politics in itself, you never know who is right and who is wrong. It depends on your perception of things. And that basically is the world we're living in. And as a Calypso writer, you have to keep that in mind when you're writing a song. And that is why Calypso was all born out of the mask. And the whole idea of masking a Calypso was to sort of create ridicule, you know, laughter, enjoyment, fun at someone. And Dr. Hollis Liverpool, for instance, he's one of the major controversial figures in Calypso in our day. And he goes on record as saying that he never supports, while he never supports prime ministerial or ministerial censorship of political calypsos, as have been done already in the past in Dominica, he cautions Calypsonians not to use the composition to libel, slander, and defame persons. He also goes on to say, this is a challenge. Can Calypso and Calypso writers hone their skills so that it produces and offers as a Calypso or work of art and not malice? So that is, I think, is the defining factor as an artist. We must not allow ourselves as writers and as performers to fall into the trap of malice. And I think a lot of the times that we get trapped because we have own political persuasions and we have own beliefs about certain persons, and as a result of that, we think it will be popular. A popular belief does not necessarily mean it's slanderous, and does not necessarily mean it's true, and it could be slanderous. And as a result, we have to find new ways of bringing out our information. Now, Checo just happened to be very unfortunate. There have been many Calypsos in the past, I'm sure as all of us are Calypso lovers, that could be faced in the same situation. But there are various persons who you sing songs on and people don't really worry too much about it. It so happened that Mr. Aaron is not one of those persons. And you will find persons like that now and then in society, especially when it comes to things like that, where your sexual orientation is questioned, that people take those things very seriously. Politicians may laugh at things about you saying that they thief money or whatever, and they might not worry about it. Most politicians may not worry about it, because it is politically expedient not to worry about it, because as you know, the more you take on a particular song, is the more popular it becomes, and it can lead to your own demise, so people might choose not to. So as a result of that, we have to find ways of actually bringing out this information in our Calypsos. Brother Resistance View, however, who was a former president of the Calypso Association Trinidad, he says there have always been attempts to censor the art form, but our history has shown it has never been successful. He says government cannot silence the Calypso singer, and I would say any government operative cannot silence the Calypso singer because they are the voice of the people. Well, I do not completely agree with this gentleman, in that while you cannot silence the Calypso singer, maybe during the competition, but you can after, as we experience now. Because at the time it's very popular, after it all happens, everybody leaves you in the situation that you are in. So I would suggest to Calypsonians who do not write their own songs, and those who write the songs, that it is all right to try and create hyperboles and satire and wit. You can find new ways of saying things. You know, Senator did it, very ambiguous, with Anti-Man. Now, who is Anti-Man? Senator had a song, Anti-Man, went down quite well. I think the radio station at the time banned it. Not correct? Yes, I think at one time DBS banned it for a period of time. But yes, because it was found, according to their lawyers, to be libelous. But then it was a lot of innuendo. it was ambiguous and never directed itself. Or you could not direct the lyrics to any one person. People perceive certain things in their mind because of the names that were called, but you could not direct to one person. Now it's dangerous if a song like that was sung and only one person was deemed in the Dominican society as an anti-man. That would have been a problem. So then you have to look at those situations. And there are different ways. I just think it's a matter of style of writing and understanding the environment you live in. And I think it's a limitation on writers. Because I really think a good writer should be able to craft the skills and not be in a situation where you are facing a libelous suit. Okay? You find, for instance, recently, you had this gentleman, I think just entertainer, who sang very nicely, and we all sang to it. Norman, is that you? Norman, is that you? Butcher, right? Butcher, that's the one trying to guess. Butcher, exactly. And he was making the same sexual aspersions, you know, and if probably Checkwood said something like that, then nobody would have to say anything, even though the person feel aggrieved. Then obviously we just ask him, is that you? You know, and there was a Calypsonian who said in Trinidad that, but I find you walking funny, and that was the line that had everybody going. I find you walking funny, and everybody got the message. There's nothing wrong in walking funny. But we know in our minds, we can evoke imagery in our mind. A good writer can pen a song to evoke those images without tarnishing and the character of an individual directly. Okay? And so that is, even the simple song of Mighty Sparrow, Lion and the Donkey Fighting, it's a very sexual song, you know, when they're fighting and they hold up each other and so on. And Sparrow says, oh, donkey break, break, break. You know? Donkey breaking wasn't the breaking that Miss would think about. And that is another way, you know? And of course, 60 million Frenchmen can't be wrong. So basically, you have to find ways, and very crafty ways, of bringing in your information. One of the Calypsonians, I think it was Crow, Weston Rollins, the king of controversy in Trinidad. For a number of years, nobody ever really sued him somehow. And also I must mention, in Trinidad compared to Dominica, there's a level of tolerance at carnival time that we don't enjoy in Dominica. And that's to do with the society. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there have been some laws passed in Trinidad that during carnival, you sort of ease up on those sort of laws related to libel and slander. You give the Calypso a little latitude to do a lot of this stuff. Okay? Unless it's really, really overboard, obviously somebody can take you up. But I don't think we have reached that level in Dominica, and people might be very, very personal about certain things. Okay? And he says that the kids in London, it's one of his songs, he's saying that the kids in London, we need turning pusher man. I begged my bandit friend to kidnap them. They have money in London and Miami. Kidnapping, go back to their country. So Croco was saying one of his songs to kidnap all the politicians. You know, and that was a very controversial song in Trinidad when he asked the people, his friends and all the bandits, to kidnap the politicians because they had money spending and all kinds of stuff. So kidnap them so that it can prevent them from fleecing the treasury. And that itself was a controversial song. You know, so basically we have to find new ways of entertaining those factors in our society. Now, we have to remember that Calypso is an art in itself. That anybody who sings Calypso and wants to bring out a message, an underlying message, I think it's imperative that you consult a legal mind in the first place. You consult a good writer, and I encourage, and I say a good writer is because I want to encourage persons to write their songs, because we need persons to write in the songs. There's too much strain on a few writers writing songs. I want to encourage Calypsonians, I want to encourage Checo himself to keep on writing the songs. And for me, I'd like to see a response in his song, you know, to that particular situation, and be done within the confines of the law, but the message is still carried across, you know. So we have to find new ways of bringing in, making sure that we go to, probably if we have to go to an English teacher, we have some lines that we're not sure about, you know, so do that, do whatever it is, because I can tell you, during the carnival season, everybody is happy to hear you giving somebody blues. And everybody's laughing. You see who's here now? All those people that's reveling and saying what and what and what, you know. Right now, they're not there to support. And yes, I want to echo the sentiments of Ghost. That's something I said in my article, that that I really wish that the doctor would, some compromise would be met, whereby probably, and I thought of that same figure, probably the 100,000 could be removed, but I think what the doctor probably wanted to send is a message, and if the message was sent, as I know it is sent, then really it shouldn't be to punish, it shouldn't be punitive to punish the Calypsonian who probably did not do better, or who enjoyed his latitude and all the hype, because we are as guilty as him, because the people are jumping up and saying, yeah man, that Irie man, they are as guilty as him. So it's not his cost alone to bear, as I see. He was just the voice of somebody singing a song that probably people wanted to express, and he did not find a good way of expressing it at the time. And I really wish, as we go on tonight, the deliberations, that probably something would be done to really, young man, and probably misled by the hype and everything. And I would suggest that persons really come out and consult before you go. And remember, do not sing calypsos to damage persons. I think that's a key thing you need to do. You do not sing a calypso to damage. You sing a calypso, and that's why I love man himself of blessed memory, is because man himself will sing a calypso and sing, you must be crazy. Very nicely, and talk to crazy, and crazy laugh about it. But you could still sing that calypso in a different way, and put crazy in a very bad line, and crazy might just figure you don't want to talk to man himself at all. Okay? So you have to make people laugh, make people get the point, be satirical about it, be ambiguous about it, although people really know it points in a certain direction, but at the same time, do not create enmity about it, because the art form is not about enmity. Thank you very much.